What's up, you awesome tactical peeps out there? Turn-based Nanashi here, and I am so damn hyped for this week. Like, do I sound excited? Cause I am. I'm ready as hell. Not for this video, but I'm ready for hell. No, wait, not ready for hell. Yeah, wait, is that how you say it? I'm ready. I'm ready as hell. Jeez, what's wrong with me? Anyway, I've been thinking of doing something really fun that's not part of the regular videos on this channel. So I decided to look back, and the first video posted on this channel was an XCOM 2 review. Listen, alright, it's not, it's my first video. It's not my best work. I've gotten so much better at doing my reviews and things. Alright, it was the first one. Let it go. So I decided to make this week XCOM week. Every day this week I will drop a XCOM video digging deeper into XCOM lore. I like extra dive into XCOM lore, right? The games give you some good stuff, but I took it a step beyond, right? In total there are 7 XCOM games, 2 expansions, 2 XCOM books, and 1 XCOM comic book. Dude, XCOM comic book. XCOM. That's a fun one. Anyway, these books greatly help piece together a lot of things. And I've read them all. And we're definitely going to be going through all that shit. Real quick, the comic, fire. The first book, fire. The second book, I hated reading that one. That one made me mad. I do need to do some housekeeping real quick, guys. Today's music, and most likely from now on, the music on this channel will be produced by my good friend, nododyz. If you like some kick-ass lo-fi music, please go check out his channel. If you're new here and like what you've been seeing, I hope I earn your subscription. If you're returning but haven't subscribed yet, please spend 1 action point to subscribe to the channel. And if you're already subscribed, I mean, you guys know I love you guys. Love y'all. XCOM, something that started in the year 1994. It was developed by Julian and Nick Gullop. Since then, XCOM has made a crazy name for itself. I mean, this is the game that YouTubers use to describe other games. But what's the canon story of this huge XCOM universe? Starting off would be XCOM UFO Defense, then the sequel Terror from the Deep. Last to end that trilogy would be XCOM Apocalypse. At this point in time, these 3 games are the canon story. That is until 2012. That year brought with this game brought a complete reboot of the XCOM universe. So that takes away UFO Defense, Terror from the Deep, and Apocalypse. Then we got the Bureau XCOM Declassified. It's a fun play, honestly, but it's non-canon. I mean, like, there's an attack on Earth in the 1900s when XCOM 1, like, the invasion was in 2015, so yeah, this game is definitely non-canon, but it is a really fun play. If you want to play a third-person shooter in the XCOM universe with a fun story, play this game. So XCOM Enemy Unknown is first, then we have to look at the expansion, Enemy Within. There are so many good conversations and debates on this game. Is or isn't it canon? It's not, right? Said by Mark Natu, I hope I said his name right, who directed Chimera Squad and worked on XCOM 2. In an interview, he said, that means XCOM Enemy Within, the 2013 expansion to XCOM Enemy Unknown, never really happened. The game's narrative, which focuses on a concoction of nanomachines called MELD to explore issues of transhumanism, is a completely alternate XCOM universe. It's a separate branch. He explained that doesn't even happen in the events leading to XCOM 2. In case you wanted another person's input, Garth D. Angles, I hope I said his name right, served as the lead producer of XCOM Enemy Unknown and XCOM 2. In his role, he was responsible for overseeing the development process and managing the team at Firex Games and ensuring the game's vision was executed. He tells PC Gamer, but when we do talk about this timeline, again, it's like Enemy Within never happened because you lost. You lost within the first third of the game. Mechs, genetically modified super soldiers? Nope, in this world the XCOM unit didn't reach any of that. We wanted a clean slate and just build off that. So with all that being said, let's put a stamp on it. Enemy Within is non-canon. Then we have the comic book Xcom 2 Factions, which is 15 years after the invasion in Xcom Enemy Unknown. So in the comic, the year is 2020. From what I've read, I'd say it's completely canon, and I'll be diving into things from this comic in tomorrow's video, which will be revealed at the ending of this one. And I think you guys will really love it. Next, we have both the books, Xcom 2 Escalation. I'd say this one is canon. It's 20 years after the invasion, pretty much right before the game. Then we have to look at the book Xcom 2 Resurrection. And this is when everything gets completely wild shit, like annoyingly shit. So in this book Resurrection, it's 20 years after the invasion, so right before Xcom 2 the game. The game starts you off in March, I believe. For the book, it doesn't say what month it starts, but there are some timestamps. This woman, Lena, was picked up early in the book, and close to the ending of the book, she mentions how it's been months since she's been picked up by the resistance group of the book. Let's say 2 months have passed. I'm trying to be fair, right? So let's say 2 months have passed. Lena and a really crappy written main character, Amar, infiltrate a Advent city. They were there for a month, but during that time is when she says it's been 2 months since he's been picked up. Then they get back to the base, things happen, and the next timestamp is 2 weeks have passed, and then another week has passed. Taigen gets recruited, then we have a 3 days later. And the story ends during that time, or the book ends during that time. So if you ask ChatGPT, it would say that this book is canon, and on the XCOM website, it calls it a prequel. But I have a huge issue with this because of the damn DLC Shin's Last Gift, right? Because both the book and XCOM 2, all right, the game and the book, they are in the same year, 2035. You see XCOM 2 starts in March. Let's just say the book Resurrection starts off in January. I'm being generous, right? So like we're talking probably like a week or a few days before XCOM 2 the game. Like the book ends and then XCOM 2 the game starts. Both Elder Shin and the lady Valin or whatever, I can't remember her name is at the moment, they are alive during this book. And like I said, this book like ends a week or a few days before XCOM 2 starts, right? And in the DLC Shin's Last Gift, Elder Shin was alone at some point to make the spark. And in the book, he was always with Lily. They were separated for like a month, but he was on the Avenger during that month. So it's one of those things of like if you say Shin's Gift is non-canon, then the book makes sense, but if Shin's Gift is canon, then the book don't make sense. It gets weirder, guys, right? So War of the Chosen, the expansion DLC, is canon, and then that makes the book Resurrection non-canon. They cannot both exist simply because of Taigen.
Dr. Richard Taigen, Chief Science Officer. I am responsible for the entirety of our research here.
In the book Resurrection, he was recruited very close to the ending of the book, which is, again, maybe a week or two, if not days, before XCOM 2 starts. But in the comic, XCOM 2 Factions, it's 15 years after the invasion, so 5 years before XCOM 2, Taigen is already there with Lily. And in the book Resurrection, Elder Shin is still alive in the year of XCOM 2. So the book is so Resurrection is non-canon, and the comic Factions and Escalation are canon. So okay, so we have something going now, right? Enemy Unknown happened, and then 3/4 through the game, the commander gets snatched by Advent. The comic book happens because it's 15 years later. Then the book Escalation. Then XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Right? So we finally moved to the last damn game, which is Chimera Squad. So if you were to look it up, it would say Chimera Squad is canon. Chimera Squad's lead designer is Mark Natu, who was a designer on XCOM 2. According to XCOM 2 lead developer Jake Solomon, the development team for Chimera Squad included many people from the XCOM 2 team, though he himself was not part of the project. Work on Chimera Squad began after completing the XCOM 2 War of the Chosen expansion. If you look on Google, yes, this game is canon. The creator says it's 5 years after XCOM 2, but he says it's a standalone game in the XCOM universe. He also called the game neither a sequel or expansion to XCOM 2. Naota, I'm probably butchering this dude's name, and I'm so sorry for it. He said that their intention was to explore different gameplay and storyline mechanics of the XCOM games without having to rebalance the elements within XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. He also said that with Chimera Squad, they felt the changes were large enough to be challenging to experienced players, but the game's smaller scale would help draw newer players into the XCOM universe. 2K Games, the game's publisher, said that the game's price was $20 with a 50% discount for the first week after launch. It was only intended to draw players into the series. So now we come to the ending. What the fuck is up with this fucking timeline? Right? This is canon, this is not canon, but if this is canon, that becomes non-canon, and that's non-canon, this is non-canon. Everything is canon, and nothing is fucking canon. Load the damn cannon, and fire the fucking cannon. I swear, I've said the damn word canon so many fucking times than I know, right? Even outside of recording this video, I've said the word canon too many times. Right? That's it. Video ends. We done. We don't know the true storyline. Bye. Peace out, boys. Alright, I'm just kidding. I'm tweaking out, my bad. I'm just tweaking a little bit. If you were to ask me, Nanashi, what do you think the timeline is? I would say XCOM Enemy Unknown starts off everything. 2/3 through the game, but only 2/3 through the game. Then the comic book. Then the book Escalation. And then XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. You might as well sprinkle goddamn Chimera Squad on it, since it's after everything, right? It really doesn't matter if it is or isn't canon. It's the last thing. Like this whole timeline is so weird and complex because so many things are classified as canon, but can't coexist with other things that are classified as canon. But I do believe there is an answer. This is the part where I really think I understand why the developers made it this way. So this little thing came from the game, the Bureau XCOM Declassified.
I've seen two different realities. I've traveled between worlds.
Introducing timelines is a very interesting and helpful tool. Honestly, with timelines, everything can be canon while not being canon. Even UFO Defense and Terror from the Deep. See, you are the commander of XCOM. This is your story in your own XCOM universe. The timeline, the outcomes, the games, it's all there, but you have to decide what your XCOM universe consists of. So if you want to count base XCOM 2 over War of the Chosen, then that's the universe of XCOM that you are commander of. Whether it's the original XCOM games or even Declassified. If you want to count Enemy Unknown's ending canon, then that's your story, right? In that timeline, the humans won. But in Declassified, in that timeline, Advent attacked Earth during the 1900s. All is yours to pick and choose. Again, because you are the commander of XCOM. This is your story, and this is your universe.
But we don't want to at all limit the player's ability to make choices and play the way they want to play just for the sake of our own narrative. Because as a hallmark of XCOM, that internal narrative that the player creates is equally as important, if not more important, than this external narrative. And so what we do is with the overarching narrative, you know, the player reaches certain points in their progress throughout the game. They do certain things, and we want to recognize that. We want to say, like, this is a dramatic moment. Let's blow this part out. Let's give them, you know, cinematics. Let's give them this drama that recognizes the player's achievements. But at the same time, we're not ever setting the player on rails and saying, okay, do this and then do that. The player is sort of finding their way through this war however they want. And also, the internal narrative that the player develops, you know, we try what we can to augment that.
If you made it to the ending of this video, I truly, truly thank you. This video had me tweaking because of how much sources and things I've had to look through, right? I literally had a dream about trying to understand the damn timelines and what is or isn't canon. It was wild, right? I hope this is the last time I say the word canon. Canon. Anywho's, tomorrow's video will be, we know exactly who the Chosen are. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the nododyz lo-fi. With all that being said, peace out, you awesome tactical peeps.